What is up, everyone? My name is Michael Pohl with Bay Area Aquatics, and today we're going to be talking about the Brine Shrimp Hatchery Dish from Brine Shrimp Direct. Now, most people know what baby brine shrimp are, especially if you've been in the hobby a little bit more or watch any of the YouTube channels. Most people talk about it quite a bit. I know Aquarium Co-op talks about it on their live streams and on their videos all the time. If you're breeding fish, it's definitely something that most people consider a staple item that you need to breed fish, which isn't true, but it definitely is one of those highly suggested items. I've been talking back and forth with Trent Weldon over at Weldon Aquatics about, I should do baby brine shrimp, but I don't want to deal with the air pump or the bubbles or the DIY or anything like that. And he had pointed out one of the dishes that he had from Brine Shrimp Direct, or I forget where he got his, but I got mine from Brine Shrimp Direct. And then in a live stream of Aquarium Co-op, I was sitting there chatting back and forth in the chat with Bentley Pasco about the difference between microworms and baby brine shrimp, because I have microworms. I really like microworms because they're easy to easy to maintain, and I don't have to do as much like maintenance with them. And Bentley was kind of sitting there going, baby brine shrimp is like significantly better than microworms, and I can't really explain it in the chat why, but they are. And so he went ahead and actually made a video on it, and I'm going to link the video down in the description below. It's a really good video, really like factual, and he got real into the depths of why baby brine's better than microworms, and why baby brine is just good for fish in general. But yeah, so I basically, between the three of them and everyone else, I kind of decided that I should get into baby brine shrimp, especially since I'm wanting to start to get into breeding. And while I'm breeding some kind of live bears and easy fish now, I hope to breed some more harder fish in the future, which means I would definitely need the baby brine shrimp or something of that caliber to feed to the little tiny babies. Now, as most of you know, all my fish tanks, most of my fish tanks at least, are in my room. My whole breeding setup in that is in my room. And so I didn't want to deal with a baby brine shrimp hatchery with like the bottles. One, because the air bubble noise really bothers me. Two, I didn't want to have to deal with a light on it 24/7. And three, I have cats and animals in this house, and the place that I'd be putting it would be down in the corner over here. And I didn't want one of them to either go and start drinking out of it or to like accidentally knock it over or something like that. That was just worrying me, and I didn't want to have to deal with the hassle of that. Not to mention having to run an extra air pump, which isn't that big of a deal because I use the USB air pumps from Aquarium Co-op. I've got extras of them. I'm running like 10 of them or something right now, and I've got a couple spares. But again, it's just a matter of like, didn't want to have to plug it in and deal with all that. So like I said, this hatchery dish was on Brine Shrimp Direct for $25 plus shipping. I figured, you know what, for $25, it doesn't use an air pump. It doesn't need a light on it 24/7. It looks pretty easy, pretty simple, easy to harvest. I'm gonna go ahead and try it for $25. You can't beat it. I'm gonna go ahead and leave a link to it down in the description below. You can buy it from both their website and you can buy it from Amazon. They do sell it on Amazon as well. I also went ahead and bought some premium grade brine shrimp eggs, again from Brine Shrimp Direct. And now for my thoughts on it. After using this for a couple of weeks, I really like it. I would highly recommend it to someone like me if you're only doing a couple of small tanks for breeding purposes. If you're just kind of getting into breeding, if you have something like guppies or whatever, well, you don't need it to raise guppies. Guppies will love it. You want to do a little bit of a live treat to some of your small fish every now and then. My Scarlet Batis loves them. I would definitely recommend this type of brine shrimp dish because you don't have to worry about it as much as you do with a full hatchery type of deal. With mine, I have 3 breeding tanks set up, and I've been able to feed all 3 of them twice a day from this container over the course of 24 hours with the baby brine shrimp. And so I think that's pretty good. I don't know, I haven't done the other way of doing it with the air pump. I want to try it eventually, but I just haven't yet. So I don't know what typical production is, but I'm assuming it's pretty good. I don't know how much you're technically supposed to feed, but I feed a bunch and it gets through all the tanks, so I'm happy with it. I think it's pretty good for a small operation. If you're doing a bigger operation, I would definitely go with a different style of hatchery, but it's definitely worth looking into if you're a small person. The other thing I really like about the dish is it's super easy to use. One, you can clean it with tap water, not a big deal. It cleans real easily, and it's easy to just kind of sit on a shelf. It's black, it's got a lid on it, no big deal. All you're gonna need is 4 cups of water. I use tap water, I don't dechlorinate it. I know some people dechlorinate it, some people use tap water, some people use tank water, whatever you want. I don't dechlorinate mine, it works just fine. I also have a 4-cup measuring cup thingy. You don't have to have that, you can always mix in another bowl, but you're gonna need 4 cups of water. You're also gonna need 1 2/3 tablespoon of non-iodized salt. I don't remember why you need non-iodized versus iodized, but rock salt, marine salt, anything that's non-iodized, you want to be able to use. Like I said, you need 1 2/3 of a teaspoon for 4 cups. And then you're gonna need 1 or 2 spoons of brine shrimp eggs. My hatchery came with a little scooper thing for it, and that's what they're measuring with. If you don't have it, doing something else, obviously you can kind of figure out how to dose it. But this dish comes with a little measuring spoon so that you can keep it nice and measured. You're gonna go ahead and take the 4 cups of water and the salt, mix it together until it's all dissolved in the water, pour the water into the hatchery dish. I usually only use about 3 to 3.5 cups of water, but I always make the 4 anyways. I found that it doesn't need to be that high. And then you're gonna go ahead and sprinkle the eggs in the outer ring. You don't wanna put them in the inner ring, nothing like that, because basically how this works is the brine shrimp are attracted to the light from the middle, and so they crawl through the little different things and make it to the little basket in the middle, and that's where you harvest it. And that way you don't have to deal with separating the brine shrimp eggs. And after, when you're done hatching all of them, it looks kind of nasty because all the brine shrimp eggs are just kind of left on the bottom there. But it makes cleanup really easy, and you don't have to worry about feeding and dealing with brine shrimp eggs. After you set it up, you're gonna go ahead and wait for 24 to 48 hours. I find mine is ready to harvest usually right about 24 hours, and I can harvest it for about a day. The production gets worse and worse as it goes on, but I can harvest enough that I can feed a couple of tanks for about a day, and then I'll reset it. So I reset it every 2 days. When I'm harvesting, if I'm gonna feed it to more than 1 tank, what I do is I use a cup. I use a little shot glass by Aquarium Co-op, put a little bit of tank water in it, and then I mix the little spoon bucket thingy in it so that all the brine shrimp kind of go into the water, and then I can just dose a little bit of water to each of the tanks that I want to feed. If you're just feeding it to 1 tank, you can just pull the little basket thing and put it in the tank and just kind of shake it, clean it off, and then put it back in the hatchery dish. And yeah, that's pretty much how I do the brine shrimp for my breeding setup. Like I said, it's extremely, extremely easy. I really enjoy it, and I highly recommend this dish if it's something that's gonna fit into your style of fish. So if you're new here, be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you get notified every time I upload a video. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, you know what to do. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.